College football is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, yes. So we got a game that was week zero, but we are I guess we're officially into week one. The college football season, and it did not disappoint. Look, there's a few games that I want to point out, but there's a lot of college football that we could talk about. Let's talk about just starting off with the week with the Colorado North Dakota State game. That was bananas. Really good game between both teams, but this was highlighted by one Travis Hunter, right? Travis Hunter, 132 yards, receiving 3 TDs in this game. And look, TD number 3 was ridiculous, right? It was diabolical. It was mind-boggling. It was say it ain't so. Ain't no way Travis Hunter was supposed to catch that third touchdown that he did, but they got the week off started right with a tight game, in this. And now everybody is talking, which they were talking about before, about Travis Hunter playing both sides, of the offense and defense, playing on both sides of the line, and what would be best for him. Now he wants to do both, and I'm still with if he wants to do both. And I'm strictly talking about college. If he wants to do, the pros, that's for another conversation. I've spoken about it, before, but right now, I think, obviously he's shown that he can pull this off. But it's the first game of the season. We've seen what Shadur can do. We've seen what Travis Hunter can do, and I was just sitting there, amazed that again, like this dude is so uber talented, and it was like we saw him play for the first time. But he's played for 2 seasons now, going into his third year at school. So Travis Hunter, man, that's a bad boy. That is a bad boy, and he got his mind on right? He just focused on school and focused on football. I'm going to say it in that order. Focused on school and focused on football and staying at home, right? He talked about staying at home. So this is good, but this is just further, the hype train, one for the Heisman and also two for the University of Colorado. So they got off to a good start. They got another game, which I'm going to talk about a little bit just in a moment. But I want to talk about Miami and Florida, right? Miami, boy. Miami goes into the swamp and puts a beat down on the Gators, 41-17. And this thing wasn't even close. It was pretty much almost over at the beginning. And in Miami, look, there's some stuff that happened last year that you just can't have happen. And this is a way of starting to make up for it for Hurricane fans and beating a Florida team. Look, obviously it's not the Florida team that we're used to seeing, but it is still Florida. They went on the road. They went in a hostile situation, which it was not hostile at all because it was quiet as can be in there. I guess the fans were shocked as well. And Miami had something to prove, and they went in there and they did it. They wanted to show everybody that they are real deal, that they are for real going into the season, and that they are going to be a problem. So this ACC is going to be really interesting when you have a team like Miami, Georgia Tech, who just the previous week had stunned the Florida State Seminoles, but also Florida State is in there. We're going to talk about Clemson as well, but the ACC is there now with Florida. I want to look. Florida is not Florida, right? I think that's just to be honest. I don't think anybody can deny that. Yes, you have talent. Yes, you have recruiting, but what puts it over the top is that you have to get the W's. And right now, Florida is not getting those W's like they used to. No one is scared to go in there at this point. And the coach, Napier, he got to get a hold on this. He already knows that. But you got to get this thing turned around, because one thing that happens at the University of Florida is if you do not win, they will definitely go and relieve you of your duties to go find someone else that they feel can do the job. So it's 1 week. It's 1 week, ladies and gentlemen. And I can say that now because of how the system is laid out for college football, how the landscape is laid out for college football. I can say that now. If this was last year, then it's just like, ooh, They're in a world of hurt. They're in a world of hurt. They got to win every single game, and they still need to win every single game going forward. But they got a little bit of a leeway with it. But props to Miami, man, for going in there and capitalizing on that. Cam Ward went out there and showed his butt off in the swamp. Last game that we're going to talk about, I do have one other game, but real quick. But last game we're going to talk about is the game that was the most recent. Well, actually, at this point, yeah, they're the most recent, next to recent, because you still got Florida State and Boston College, but USC and LSU. And when I was looking at this matchup, I'm gonna be honest. I picked LSU to win this, and the sole reason I picked this is because both teams were coming off losing their star quarterback that just so happened to go 1-2 in the NFL draft. Both teams are trying to get off to a good start. Both teams are trying to forget some things that happened, the previous season as well. And this turned out to be one of the best games this week with USC beating LSU 27-20. And I had LSU winning this. And the reason I had LSU winning, I said I had to see USC's defense, right? I had to see what transpired this season from last season. And of course, last season is what it is. But there was a lot of games that people pointed the finger at the defense and said that, hey, if they had a better defense, maybe this would be a whole different, different story for USC. And that story is different this year. They went in there, although it was a neutral site, but it doesn't even matter. They went in there to Las Vegas, to Allegiant Stadium, and their defense, I'm going to give their defense all the credit in the world. Their defense went out there and put on a show. They had a bend but don't break mentality where last year some of those plays that they got to stop on, or they limited to a field goal, those might have been touchdowns, at this point. Those might have been, a kickoff return. Actually, not LSU, but USC did a really good job in just slowing down LSU. Not necessarily just completely stopping them, but slowing them down, slowing this game down, and making it still a tight game to where it did not put them in a situation of where that they had to do something that was uncharacteristic of what they wanted to do, or they were not pigeonhole into maybe just having to pass at this point. They were able to take it all the way down to pretty much almost the end of the game, and they were still running the ball. So props to USC, for doing that, proving me wrong in my pick. And if they continue this is going to make the Big Ten even much better, and college football much better. USC being relevant, and all these other schools like LSU and so forth. This is always good for college football. So one game I did not get to see, and I'm a little ticked off, but the only person I can blame is Mother Nature. I didn't get to see it for myself. Was the Nebraska? Who did Nebraska play? Nebraska played. Why am I drawing a blank? But Nebraska played, and I didn't get to see that game because there was a weather delay. So the Penn State West Virginia game got delayed, where the Nebraska game was supposed to have been on. Didn't get to watch it, but Dylan Raiola had 238 yards, 2 TDs, in this game. So it looks like he's getting acclimated in the state of Nebraska, which leads up to a game that we want to be watching next week, right? The next game, next week of college football is Colorado versus Nebraska. This is going to be an early game to keep our eyes on. Two offenses that should be able to produce points. Two quarterbacks in Shadur and Dylan. Shadur is the elder statesman, if you will, in this. But I expect a back and forth, competition. Again, I talked about Travis Hunter. Don't forget about Miller, this kid Miller from Colorado as well. He balled out in the last game, 198 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's the game that I want to make sure that I catch, along with others that's out there. But that's the game that I want to make sure that I catch, because I miss Nebraska and I wanted to see how would they perform. But I'm sure I'll be able to get to see it this time. So I can't wait